It's the 9th of June,
Good.
2023.
Good.
And for the record, we're in Great Beelings, near Ipswich. Who are you, Regan?
Name's Regan Scott. I'm a retired economist. Been involved in public policy issues all my life. Got involved in the Sizewell thing just about when it officially started over 10 years ago. Hoping to be able to contribute, in part because I used to work for a big organisation that had members in the nuclear industries.
How did the Sizewell C project come about, and why has it taken so many years from, 2011? Has the delay been just a matter of the sheer size of the project?
Well, arguably the size of it is very important, and I think the public at large simply have not understood that. Occasionally, when the press are bothered about it, they've actually said that should the thing ever be built, the construction site would be the biggest construction site in Europe. It really is very big. And I know the public aren't very happy about noughts after pound signs, but the project was originally flagged up as being of the order of 12 to 15 billion pounds. It's now accepted that it will be of the order of 25 billion, and the best way of explaining that to people today is to say that Liz Truss is no longer the Prime Minister because she was proposing unfunded tax cuts twice the size of that. So it would give you some sense of how big financially the project was. It was also very big because Britain had not had any nuclear power stations except Sizewell B, which was only one, which was never continued with. It was supposed to have a twin. That was in the late 80s, early 90s. And our existing fleet of nuclear power, which contributes about a fifth of electricity, is about to run out. So there's been a long public issue about whether to renew Britain's nuclear fleet, as they call it, or not. And the politicians have been dodging around all over the place on it, and have also been deeply aware that the planning issues involved in something as big as this are inherently very complicated. The project owes its origin to Blair and Brown and their government, and it was decided by people at that level that a completely different level of planning law was needed. So a lot of time was taken up in creating what's called the 2008 Infrastructure Planning Act, which itself led to an enormous burden of subsequent legislation and changing in environmental law and so on. So the project sort of, wasn't going to be easy in any case. And also the other factor, very important, is that the first new nuclear power station in North Somerset, was called Hinkley Point C, that was decided on quite quickly, and the funding of it, the technical complexity of it, as a project, I think led some people very high up in government to think, well, we want more of these, but let's see how this works out. So there's been a part of government and policy making which has also said, well, let's see Sizewell C on the table, but only very, very slowly until we find out what the implications of Hinkley Point C are. So it's been slow for policy reasons. A different government with a different approach might have said Sizewell C, could have started 10 years ago. At the moment, we think it probably, won't start, or even if it does start, it's probably another 3-4 years. and then it would take anything from 10 to 15 years to complete. Then the other factor that's very important is, of course, all policymakers and campaigners are aware that climate change problems, challenges are changing virtually every time the experts give us a report. And a lot of the sales pitch for nuclear power has been about it being low carbon and contributing to our British contribution to climate change. But the problem there is the slowness of both Hinkley Point C and the planning process for Sizewell means that by the time they're actually up and running and proven, given that they've got very, very long lives of 60 to 80 years, the climate crisis will probably be out of hand and make nuclear power irrelevant. So there are lots of policy issues that the experts are really just having to follow and blocking anybody from being very decisive about it.